Hello, everyone. Jerry Tabatt with you. Another edition of our military community, and we have a great program lined up for you today. A friend of ours dropped back by. We talked to him a few months ago, but I had to bring this gentleman back on because there's so many different things going on. Without further ado, here's my guest again today, Commander Micheal Mosi, Commanding Officer of the NSA at Panama City. Thanks for coming back in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so very much for having me back. I truly appreciate the honor.
It's like people are going to start talking and say, hey, you guys are doing too much talking together.
Well, we need to, right?
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of things going on. But before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about today, let's just refresh everybody a little bit about your military career.
Okay. Once again, Commander Micheal Mosi, fortunate to be a commander. I joined back in 1992. I joined on the delayed entry program as an OTA, Ocean Systems Tech Analyst, so as an enlisted sailor. And over the years, I've progressed through, selected to become an officer, went through aviation training, and have served as an aviator both East Coast and West Coast. So in Jacksonville, and in Hawaii, I've also had some tours on a ship. So I had a tour on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower as a shooter, so launch and recovery aircraft officer.
Wow.
Wonderful experience, and progressed on through to now running installations. And how fortunate I am to be here.
Yeah, and I've met your wife too. She's a real sweetheart on that, and your whole family and the smile you have on your face all the time. You love what you're doing, don't you?
I do.
Well, now, how long have you actually been here as the Support Activity Commanding Officer, and how much time do you think you're going to have with us? I know that's hard to answer, but there's a lot of variables in there.
So I've been here now a little over a year and a half. I think actually 18, 19, about 20 months at this point. I'm here for 3 years. So 3 years was what I was ordered here for. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. I'm hoping longer. I love the community over here, and I love what I do.
Yeah, and being the commanding officer, that role changes all the time. What's some of the changes that you've had just in the short time you've been the commanding officer from when you first started till now? I mean, you've had some changes in there.
Yes. So the beauty of what I'm doing now, and the beauty of what most of our military does is when you move from role to role, especially as an officer, and you progress up the ranks, your responsibilities kind of broaden a little bit because it gets narrow at the top. My responsibility over here at the installation level has changed from what I used to be as a warfighter in the aircraft to now running an installation. But over the year and a half that I've been here so far, I tell you, I work with the greatest complement of individuals. The sailors I work with are so very passionate.
Right.
We've tried to instill a family sort of notion over here, and it's small enough that it allows us to really develop strong bonds. Yeah. And it's infectious. Some of the things we've done over the past year or so on the installation, we have really progressed with regard to cleaning up the base post Micheal. Right. So we had a lot of Conex boxes and a lot of construction left over from the hurricane cleanup to now we've transitioned into, no kidding, really doing new structures. So a lot of facilities are being developed. So that's the cleanup piece. With regard to quality of life and quality of service. So as the commanding officer of the installation, I provide the facilities for the warfighters that are on the base and also quality of life for the warfighters that are on the installation. So as far as quality of life is concerned, we have done a phenomenal amount of things. And all these things are not just from me. The beauty of it is these are suggestions from everyone that's on the installation, and I love it, right? So we have done things like we increased our hours at our main deck. So our main deck is sort of like a little restaurant establishment that we have right on the water. It's fast food that we have over there, but it provides an outlet for sailors and some of the civilians on installation to go to. We've increased our number of hours also for our auto hobby shop. So we have a state-of-the-art auto hobby shop over there. All the tools, lifts in the whole 9 yards. Increased the day. So we have 6 days versus the 5 days that we had, and extended hours. What else have we done? We've increased the number of hours that our gym is open now. So used to be we had set hours for the gym. It's now a 24-hour facility that provides just that flexibility for folks that are on shift work to come in off shift and sometimes in the middle of the night to work out over there. We've added a new outdoor fitness facility as well. That has just changed. You know, the divers on the installation, they're some tough individuals.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
I love it, but they love that as well,
Yes.
right? We had our tennis courts, and as times have progressed, the sport of tennis is
Right.
slowly abating, but pickleball has picked up to no end. Well, we've changed some of our tennis courts into pickleball courts right now, so we've provided that opportunity as well. We have a disc golf course on the installation as well. So these are all the
Yeah.
things that just improve the quality of life for the sailors. Structurally, we have a dining facility on the installation that was built when the installation was essentially created.
Right.
So years ago, things have changed, and we need to update and modernize that.
Yeah.
The lighting in the inside, carpets versus floor. We finally landed a project that's breaking ground now to totally renovate that whole facility. So that's what I can't wait for that to be complete.
Yeah. Well,
oh my, I could go on.
Yeah, but and that's what's great. All of these things have happened. I guess we could say thanks to Michael. No. But
Yeah.
Now that you're getting all this together and everything, how has all this changed? What's really the mission that's going on now at NSA, and how many people are actually there with you? How many personnel are on that base? Because it takes a lot.
Absolutely. So I talked about what I, as a commanding officer, do for the installation, right? But we have tenant commands on the installation. The tenants are the individuals that I provide the facilities for and the services for. The mission of the tenants that we have on board is a unique mission. So we've got NSWC, Naval Surface Warfare Center, that does RDT&E, so research, development, test, and evaluation of state-of-the-art equipment for the littoral warfare battle space. So we have about 2,500 of our total population that's civilian doctors and engineers and et cetera that come on the installation to do this research, this cutting edge, to meet with our near peer competitors and make sure that we stay abreast, if not ahead of them. And that's the goal, is to stay ahead of them. We also have the mission of the dive school, which is we're the sole proprietor for dive students for all the branches, all the services.
Yeah, that's one of the things, sir, that a lot of people don't realize, and I keep getting questions, and that's why I said before, I want you to expand on that just a little bit about that dive school, because that is such a thing. People see the big structure and everything, and they say, wow, these Navy divers, that must be good, but they've got a huge job, and training is tremendous.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the beauty of it, so as I mentioned, we are the sole source for the for majority of the divers in all of the branches, right? Air Force, Coast Guard, Marine Corps, and some of the civilian agencies as well. So all partnered up, come through here for training. The training has also evolved over time. So used to be we would train really hard, and we would end up with shortened service life because we injure ourselves in the process. But right now, we have a facility that has state-of-the-art, you would say a Division A type gym facility that has physical therapists on board and all the professionals to monitor and truly train our individuals to make sure that we're getting the maximal, not use, but their ability to actually perform their duties over time and retire healthy. That's the key. Maintaining a healthy fighting force, viable for the duration of the career and beyond as well. The students are amazing. It's a rare opportunity, and they're coming from different parts of this nation. Some impoverished areas, you don't know what their background is, but they have this unique opportunity to become a unique fighting force for the U.S. military. And they come with such pride, they come with such determination. It's so refreshing to see them every single day, determined, which makes it easy for all of us as the instructors and the leadership on the installation. They're so geared up and they're so excited for the opportunity that your traditional worries you would have with young teenagers / young adults, we don't have over here. We're not out in the streets getting drunk or any of those problems, right? They're geared and they're such a motivation. For the old ones like myself, I look down, I look young, and I'm like, you know what? I wish I had that passion when I started out.
Yeah.
But it is the fuel that continues us going every single day.
And I've had the opportunity to visit over there several times and see the dive school. And one of the things that's impressed me is, like you mentioned, there are all kinds of different backgrounds.
Yes.
But they're like a family. I mean, take care of one another.
Absolutely, absolutely. The nature of the mission that they actually conduct once they're complete with dive school takes them in areas where they have to learn to rely on one another. And so where traditionally you'll have multiple individuals to be able to rely on and count on with their missions, when they're out alone and unafraid. And essentially, whoever they have on their side is who they have. So they build those relationships here and now. And over their careers, there are only so many stations they go through. So they retour with their shipmates time and time again.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's amazing, and it's really great. Now, you talked about the military personnel that you have there, but it's always important, no matter what branch of service it is, you do have civilian personnel. How are they integrated in? Is it easy to do?
I'm glad you asked the question. And this has been one of my mantras. All right. Every civilian that works on that installation, that's a DoD civilian, I consider a warfighter as well. The support they provide for us in uniform is essentially about the same as us actually going out. Without their help, without them launching us and giving us the opportunities to get out to be afraid and unalone, or unalone and unafraid, it's just really unique. So they are an integral part of what I call the team, the warfighting team on NSA. Like I said, we have about 2,500 of the civilian population here at this installation. Total population of about 4,000. A good portion of that, about 1,500, is normally a transient. So these are the students that come in for their courses and then graduate and leave. But yeah, the civilian force is integral to the warfighting mission, 100%.
And that's what's super to see. It's like one big, let's face it, it's a community of itself that works together. I mean,
yes, sir.
And it's just great to see the cooperation between military and
there is a true mutual respect and symbiotic relationship that exists between the civilians and the military.
And the thing about it is, in my Air Force career, I learned that these civilians, when they come in and work with the military people, it doesn't make any difference what branch of service. No. They get an understanding of what these military young men and women have to go through, and they understand the trials and tribulations that are sometimes totally different than civilian life.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And their ability to sympathize with the military folks, because you just mentioned the key component that is about the difference, right? Is that with the civilian workforce, they're the stalwart. They're the ones that are here for over generations of us, the military, that come in and go out, right? So it's that transitional phase, that the fact that the military members are essentially nomads. Every 2 to 3 years, you can guarantee you're picking up and moving somewhere else. And so they see that. They see the classes come through. They see the permanent staff come and go through. And they recognize that, and they understand that, yes, that is an aspect that we have to support.
Yeah, and one of the good things about it, too, and I'm sure you've noticed that these civilians work with the military people, and when the military people leave, it's not like, okay, John, see you later. They actually stay in contact with one another. So that family grows.
It does, and it's amazing to see. I mean, so we talked about the dive school. So there are a number of dive entities here. So we've got the Navy Expeditionary Dive Unit. We've also got an EOD component over here, so that's explosive ordnance and disposal. And so the divers would go out, they'd come for training, go out, do a mission, and then they'd come back to either the Navy Expeditionary Dive Unit. And so these relationships that are formed during their initial tour are just picked right back up when they come in for their next tour. The CEO of the dive school right now has been here before and has served at this installation. And when we were touring around and talking, he was like, "Yeah, I remember." And I could see those eyes light up, both from the civilians and from him, as he walked through and said, "Welcome back." And it was just amazing. It's amazing.
And that's what's good about it. Now, you talked about Hurricane Michael. It tore up that Navy base, and you've got all these different things going now. You've got facilities up and running, buildings up and running.
Yes.
But that threat's out there all the time.
Every year.
A friend of ours, a female friend, we'll call her, Hurricane Helene, came close to us.
She did.
What impacts did you have there, and did you actually learn any lessons from this storm, even though it didn't directly hit us?
I'll tell you the biggest lesson I learned. The biggest lesson I personally learned was that there is true post-traumatic stress disorder based on what Michael did over here. And so when Helene started her way up this ways, you could see the genuine concern of all those that had been here through Hurricane Michael. With regard to the response that I received from the installation, getting it prepared for the possible direct hit, it was amazing. We stepped through our conditions of readiness, so we have checklists of what we do. We go around, we pick up everything, secure the base, make sure that we don't have any flying projectiles, make sure that things are properly closed up and just boarded up for the possible winds/storm surge. Everybody responded with religious duty.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see. We came together and no pushback from anybody. So my mission over here is to support the warfighter. So I support the tenants 90% of the time. The only time where I become the supported commander is in times of disaster, natural disaster, and or any anti-terrorism act, right? And so the support I received for Helene was amazing, and I'm totally grateful. Not only to the tenants on the installation, more importantly, I received such support from the community. I got calls and text messages from General McQueen, from the school, Bay School, and then also from Bob Micah, the city Bay County manager, and just from all the officials, just asking, genuinely concerned.
Right.
Are you ready? Do you need anything from us? Amazing.
And see, and that's what's good about it. But one thing, and I know you'll probably deal with this, because let's face it, Helene's not the only one that's going to come by here, but you had all the preparations and everything. Nothing really happened. How do you deal with the fact that if another one comes by and people say, well, you had us do all this stuff for that one, and it missed this. This isn't going to miss this too. How do you deal with that? That's probably tougher than actually getting the people together to get everything done.
My command philosophy is in accordance with instruction, in accordance with guidelines, in accordance with policy. And that has been instilled across the entire installation. So whether we don't get complacent.
Right.
At the very minimum, brilliant at the basics, and that's following the directives. And so the conditions of readiness are a checklist that we have to follow. And like I said, in addition to that, we also have, no kidding, the true human aspect of it, where people are genuinely concerned about their safety. Right. So I don't see it as a challenge or as a problem. I see it as an opportunity for us to get better prepared for anything that may come in the future.
Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
Practice
Absolutely.
makes perfect.
Reps and sets.
I think that it'll do fine over there. We get another one. Let's switch gears here just a little bit. And you've been here a little over a year and a half now, I guess. And I always find it difficult sometimes to ask these questions because the guests say, well, I don't want to brag or anything, but you've had some successes here, Commander Mosi. What's probably the biggest one you've had?
So I'd like to say we all have had some successes. And, I talk about, I say this a lot at the installation, and that is, we're in a season. We have a season of leaders that are like-minded, that are service-oriented, and the alignment from the upper echelons right on down to my junior-most sailor is unique. So together we have accomplished quite a bit. So what I would say the biggest achievement is our transition from being individuals on the installation to being a family, a community on the installation.
That's what's so important there. And a lot of times you can't measure success by saying, okay, 1,437, I got these documents. It's the actual individuals that, like you said, that make up that success. You can't do it all by yourself.
No. I have a list of items that we have accomplished together that I can go through, but my biggest pride, once again, is the fact that we all are like-minded and getting after it.
We got about 10 minutes. Give me about the top three you have on that.
Top three. So I have to give a big recognition to our Public Works Department on the installation. We've achieved over $60 million worth of construction on the installation over the past 18 months, right? We've, like I said, we talked about the galley. We've broken ground on 2 important structures also for NSWC. We've changed all the signboards on the installation. So just things that were pointing to the old facilities that no longer exist, That no longer exists now. So now you have a visual of it. Our stormwater drainage on the installation, we've cleared out culverts. And believe it or not, prior to the Thomas Drive and the shopping complex that's right across the street from the installation was there were natural estuaries that flowed from the city right through the installation into the bay.
Right.
We had no idea that just by clearing out the culverts on the installation, we would minimize the amount of flooding that was happening out in the community.
Yeah.
The flow is amazing right there on the installation. So big kudos, big BZ to my Public Works Department, to my morale, welfare, and recreation team. My goodness, quality of life is the focus right now. If there's anything that we can do for the warfighter is to make sure they have a balanced life, right? Because day in and day out, they go in and they are pressing hard, right? So how are we supporting them? I talked about opening up our facilities for the auto hobby shop. They're saving dollars, they're building skills, they're building camaraderie and relationships over there. Our main deck is also open, so folks are able to get there and socialize a lot more. We opened up the pickleball courts, which is not only drawing in the service members, but then their family members as well.
Right.
I had no idea, but
Exactly,
it's bringing in the families together. Once again, that community. We talk about community, Bay County.
Yeah.
But we've had the great opportunity of showcasing the installation. So we used to be just the fence line on Thomas Drive. We've changed that notion now to where we're inviting individuals to the installation. Come and see what you support.
Exactly.
You know, used to be
your tax dollars that are going.
Used to be, we're proud to serve the military. We're proud to support the military. Now, I can proudly say that if you picked any member that has been on the installation, they can proudly tell you what in particular that they support.
And that's what's so important. Yes. So we don't run out of time. I got one more thing. A couple of things I need to get in.
Okay.
You've got current priorities and focuses over there at NSA, but in addition to those focuses and priorities, you also have to look ahead.
Absolutely. So it's amazing. I talked about how there's alignment in the leadership, right, and like-mindedness. So all the way from Congress down through our CNO, down to, like I said, the junior-most sailor, we're all aligned in making sure that we are ready for that fight that's coming. Our CNO, in her latest navigation plan, has, and this is the first CNO that has talked directly about having, no kidding, a kinetic engagement with a near-peer competitor by 2027. And we have to prepare the warfighter for that.
Right.
And so all these initiatives that I just talked about that we've accomplished in the past year and a half have all magically aligned to what the future is. And things don't happen overnight.
Right.
But we have set the foundation. And all we have to do right now is stay the course. Continue to love on one another as a community. Continue to realize the relationships that exist between the community and ourselves. So we're building IGSA, so intergovernmental service agreements, with the community as well, where traditionally I'd have to mobilize, say, a company to come fix my roads on the installation. Well, the city has FDOT, Florida Department of Transportation, that does exactly that. And they're local and they're doing all. How can we jump in on this? I want to pay for my services. I just don't want to pay for the mobilization because that saves the taxpayer dollars. So we're building all these relationships and finding those symbiotic relationships where, hey, you're here anyways, help me out to do these things, and believe me, it works in the long run for all of us.
And there is a way that they can help you out over there. You have just launched something new called the CO's Suggestion Box. In fact, we've got a little graphic of that.
Absolutely.
So people can take a look at that.
Yes.
How does this actually work?
Like I said, I'm very fortunate to be here as a commanding officer on this installation. And along the way, I've always wondered, how are the leaders coming up with the ideas that they come up with? How are they able to run this installation? Are they doing it by themselves? And over time, I've grown to realize that I need everybody's input. That's the only way that we can capitalize on this season.
Right.
And so this CEO suggestion box, traditionally there used to be, no kidding,
wooden boxes
with a lid on it, with a little slit. Exactly. But it takes time. Sometimes folks are worried about being seen. A totally anonymous way of doing this, and that comes directly to my inbox, by the way, is a QR code. And we're trying to keep up with the times. The younger generation, they're not going to be writing this down, but they'd much rather hit that QR code and type in. So this CO suggestion box is a direct way for everyone on the installation, not only on the installation, but everyone that has access to the installation. If you see something that you think needs either changed, improved, or even if you want to compliment us, please shoot me a note. If you leave your name or contact information, I guarantee you that you will receive a phone call directly from me thanking you for your input. Together, we will make this place better.
And that's the key right there, together. And this is such a great idea. We've got about 4 minutes left, but I want to switch gears just for a second here. We know a lot about what happens now on the facility itself, but you as the military community, you're also involved in the civilian community. What are some things that you guys do that are directly involved with the civilian community around us?
You know, the generation that we are producing now, so our children, we need to influence them to be able to make sure that they take up after us. We're heavily involved in the community with regards to the schools. So we have STEM events on the installation. Once again, we've got PhDs, we've got a whole bunch of military civilians that produce, you know, state-of-the-art stuff. So we expose the children to that. So STEM events are one of them. We read at the schools. So we go through the schools and actually read to them and open up the aperture and give them an opportunity to ask all the questions. Believe me, the innocent questions you receive from these children teach you how to ask the right questions at work too. You know, we do touch a truck events. So we take equipment from the installation. For kids that normally wouldn't have the opportunity to have a field tour or a field trip to come see that, we bring it right to your doorstep.
There you go.
You'll have a boat sitting right there in your parking lot. You'll have state-of-the-art explosive ordnance disposal unit, like you know, our Big Blue is what we call it, right? And we have our police vehicles out there. Come touch, come feel, come experience all of that. With regard to the community, heavily involved with Chamber of Commerce and all the community leaders as well, and just building that relationship. You know, yesterday I went to a change of command over at Tyndall Air Force Base, and one of the things that made me extremely proud was that not only was I able to intertwine or intermingle with them, but then I was recognized. It's a matter of, wait a minute, 45 minutes down the road, different service where usually it's unheard of that, you know, we have that communal relationship. You know, so we're across the board. Easy to call. For Hurricane Helene, I received text messages directly from Bay County manager. These we're building the relationships. It's there, and so the community is an integral part. So they're an extension.
Yeah, so everybody working together on it.
Yes, sir.
We're about out of time, but I'll give you a minute for your final thoughts, sir.
You know, once again, overarchingly, our community, not only on the installation, building the family there, but then the extended family of Bay County is what I'm super proud of. And I truly pray that if there's any legacy that I leave behind, it's a legacy of community, a symbiotic relationship between Bay County and the installation, and inside of the installation, that family notion. So that's the biggest thing. I want to say thank you to everyone that supports us. Actually, look directly at you. Bay County, thank you so much. Thank you to the installation. Thank you for bringing your enthusiasm and encouragement every single day.
Commander Micheal Mosi, Commanding Officer, NSA, Panama City. Thank you, sir.
Thank
it's been
you.
a pleasure. I wish we could keep going, but we're out of time.
No, thank you too for this. This is a great opportunity. This is
my pleasure.
This is amazing. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this is it for this edition of our military community. And don't forget this suggestion box item there. Go and watch the video again and click on that. And if you have some suggestions, send them over. Commander Mosi will be sure to answer them. If he doesn't answer them, he'll have his staff do it. In the meantime, we want you to have a great day, everyone. And remember, we're all in this together. Our military, it's civilian, we're one big community. We work together. Until next time, I'm Jerry Tabatt with this edition of our military community. We'll see you again. Have a great day, everyone.